my answer is always follow the money.
Well, that's usually the answer.
Because
it's usually where you're going to find the perpetrator.
I'm almost a technocrat, I think.
You're right.
Follow the money. If the government's really looking out for you, they say drunk driving is bad. You shouldn't do it. It's a danger to society. It's a danger to yourself, the people around you. Okay. So then why not make it so that you have to do a breathalyzer before your engine turns on?
They have the technology.
You can do that. We know people that get
If you're a convicted drunk driver,
you will get that.
Car. Sure.
But
yeah, why don't they do that?
Well, because a DUI, at least your first one, that's $10,000 to the state.
10 grand. Man.
And that's another 10 grand to your insurance company. They make buku bucks off of you for getting a DUI.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
Big money.
Why? And that was one of my answers to why are drugs legal in this country. Somebody's making a ton of money off of it being illegal. That is why. We think of it as the way we play around in the economy. But if the DEA goes in and confiscates, say, $4 million, right? That money shows up to court as evidence, and then what happens to it?
Good question.
The DEA spends it. The Department of Justice spends it. They put in a new carpet in the
they're supposed to catch other perpetrators with it. But you know how much a drunk driving fine was when I first started driving? $19. And they wouldn't even usually give you that.
Jeez,
they take the keys from you and take you home, tell you to come back tomorrow and get your car. It was very simple. I don't know what happened, but 10 grand from $19.
Yeah, well,
and they usually
you get a lot of
find
lobbyist groups and
it justifiably so. We don't want drunks on our road. It's bad enough.
But at the same time, I think each person should be measured on their own merit. So if you drink and you're going to go for a license, you should be tested for at what point in your BAC are you no longer capable of driving? You personally.
Well, that would vary from day to day, wouldn't it?
It would vary from person to person, and you could do it scientifically.
Well, some days I could drink a case of beer and drive just fine, but some days 2 beers might put me over the line.
So the problem is with that is, like you said, the variability of the whole thing, and how much extra money and resources would we have to put into test every single person out there.
And they want those drunk driving fines.
That's exactly right.
And insurance company too. Downey, you're right. I think you're right. Just follow the money and you'll see. And
why is this like this? Oh, let's see who's making money from it.
Because most drunk drivers didn't even hit nothing. They just got caught in a checkpoint.
Right.
Yeah. You know what? That makes a lot of sense.
No. I think that's always the case at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's kind of the problem. The reason I'm never any good at these business ventures. I understand I need money, but I don't care about it enough.
Right. You don't want to make it the top priority. You want more of the art,
It's an internal. And when I went to school, I didn't go to school to get a degree. I went to school to gain knowledge. I wanted to understand who I was as a person. I had questions, and they had answers.
You took humanities.
I took the humanities.
And the arts.
Yeah, I could have been a permanent student. I absolutely could have been a permanent student.
Well, you are.
Yeah,
you are.
Yeah,
but I know what you mean. In college, right? Yeah, sure. That's a wonderful lifestyle.
I would have gone from the humanities into the sciences, and maybe right now I'd be looking through a telescope and charting stars. I don't know. But I wanted to know who I was. It was my pursuit to find out who I am. Versus I want to go and make money.
That wasn't your top priority.
That wasn't my top priority. No. I wanted to be a teacher. And obviously, especially right now, teachers are notoriously low paid. It's a low paid profession.
Not where my wife works, man. They're making over $100 grand. Teachers.
In this
some
area,
time in. Yeah,
in this area, in the suburbs, it's actually very good.
It is good.
Right. But this area is the exception, not the rule.
Right.
Jersey does okay with its teachers, depending on what district you're in.
Right. It depends on the district, and it depends how many years you've been in, but they do quite well.
Yeah, they can. But here's the thing. There is, I feel, no profession more important than teacher. I really don't. Because in your words, in your profession is the future, period. Is the future.
Yeah, it is.
Those minds that you touch, that you send forward, you are What you put into them will sprout fruit later.
That's our resource, is our future, children.
Yeah, our most important resource is our children. We say this is the platitude, but we don't act like it.
Oh, I think a lot of people do.
I think individuals do.
Yes, their children.
Society doesn't.
Right.
Society does not. In fact, I would go so far to say as having children certainly in the United States and other less reputable countries, not to say that, well, we are pretty unreputable right now, but having a child is a social crime that you are convicted in the public sphere for doing. Because you think about everything you have to give up to have a child. Professional trajectory, time, stress on your relationship, stress on your finances, daycare, clothing, food, all these doctor visits, all these sorts of things that become central to everything. And there's no safety net for any of it here. And that's if you're in a middle class, stable marriage that will go on into perpetuity. If you get divorced or you have a child as a teenager, you've essentially said your life is over. And why? Because you did exactly what human beings are supposed to do, biological entities
is what we're supposed to do.
You're being punished because you did what you're supposed to do.
If you go about it the wrong way. But if you are a little older and you're married in a stable relationship, it is a very important thing to have children.
It's still a burden.
It is a burden.
Still a burden.
Financially, it is.
If statistically, if your wife, let's say you get married, and your wife, and you are a professional, she gets pregnant, you're say 30. So she's right in the middle of her career. Statistically speaking, she will never get back to where she was when she takes that time off.
Because it took her out of the workforce, and she now...
In fact, she's more likely to do better. A woman is more likely to do better if she has a child as a teenager overall, because by the time she hits 25, it's between 25 and 45, or 25 and 35, I believe it was. If you have a child in that range, right where you're really getting into things, and you're no longer the new guy, but you're not quite senior yet, when you have a child in those ranges, women have a very hard time getting back to where they were and reclaiming that trajectory. That is a tax for having a child. That is a punishment for having a child. And the guy, you can either be a deadbeat and an absentee father and have your career, or you got to slow things down. Absolutely have to slow things down.
It's a liability. It's the...
Why is doing the one thing, the second biggest thing you do as a biological entity, why is that a liability? That's what we do as a species. So that's what every biological entity does. We're not talking about rape or murder.
It's
We're
what
talking
we
about
do. It's society that causes the problem. It's not procreating.
Did we create society to serve us, or are we serving society? There it is.
That's a good question.
And we thank you for joining us for that clip of our weekly podcast. If you want to get more bonage footage or join us for the entire podcast, head on over to Patreon, where our Eagle, Tiger, and Dragon subscribers get access to not only what we cast and talk about, but advanced lessons in your forms, in your Tai Chi, and in your life.